I visited the island on vacation. I was able to see Zanzibar for not what it was when I came, but what it could be. The idea of creating a community is like, I know I've built communities before. I myself know what I want. People can enjoy with their families is important, right? We have a health center there. You can work out. They want to come to Zanzibar, they want to enjoy themselves, and they want to spend good time with their families. Hello, everyone. My name is Max Maxwell. I am the CEO and founder of Padco, and we're developing here in the beautiful island of Zanzibar.
Yes, hello. On my side, this is Nurdin Mohammed. I'm the sales manager from Padco Company.
So today we're going to be deep diving into our newest project, Chakwani Shores, and we want to give people a outlook or actually be able to look inside as into what it's like actually developing a nice community and a beautiful luxury community like Chakwani Shores.
So basically on my side, I'll have to ask the first question is like, what inspired you to have a vision of starting something like Chakwani Shore project?
Well, for me, I visited the island on vacation and I saw so much opportunity here. I was able to see Zanzibar for not what it was when I came, but what it could be. And the reason why we picked Chakwani Shores for this newest project that we're doing is because of the location. The location is one of the last few beachfront plots in that area of Chakwani. And if you're familiar with Zanzibar, which I know you are,
Yeah.
that it is already a place of affluence, right? It's a lot of the successful people in Zanzibar live in that area. And with this being one of the last and the largest beach plots available, that made sense for us to be able to get that. And we acquired it through partnership and were able to do this project. And so Chakwani Shores for me is amazing because it's beachfront. It's less than 10 minutes from the airport, less than 15 minutes from Stone Town, which is where everyone must visit when they come here.
Of course.
So I think it's an ideal location for this type of project that we're doing in Chakwani Shores. From a sales perspective, what do you think makes Chakwani Shores particularly appealing to our buyers or investors?
I would say number one, first of all, when you already mentioned the vision, but our teams and company has done anonymous numbers of researches to ensure that first of all we take a look at the location, which is going to be a very premium location, and also the return on investments when it comes to the projects. Currently, as we're speaking, in Zanzibar, there are places which are counted as to be a seasonal business, such as outside of the city of Zanzibar. But when it comes to the city of Zanzibar, we don't really have a low season, so we have got an average time and the higher season. So the return on investment to the projects that are available in the city, as this Chakwani Shore, is one of the amazing point of investment to this project.
So basically, because on an island that is tourism is number one on the GDP, you have high seasons and low seasons.
Of course,
We've predicted still an occupancy rate on any project that's built well at least 60%, and that's being on the very conservative side. But for Chakwani, like you said, it's located in the area where there's always people coming because they're not only coming for the beach, they're coming for business, they're coming to visit family, they have business to deal with in the local area. So you're not only attracting international people who are traveling, you're traveling people from the rest of the East African community, from mainland Tanzania, from Dar es Salaam, a very, very big population of people that are coming into Zanzibar, not only for the beaches, but for other things, other events and other just random actual, trips to Zanzibar.
And about that, the fun fact about this, or the fact about this is like, we have the local tourism which contribute much of this investment, and people don't realize this. They think that the investment is highly based on the people that are coming from Europe, America, and different places, while you need to understand that Zanzibar is having a population of nearly 2 million people, but it's part of Tanzania, which is having a population of 65 million people.
Correct.
And these 65 million people, the nearest destination where they can come through vacation, business, and everything is Zanzibar.
Yeah, because a short boat ride for most people, or less than 30-minute flight.
Of course.
Yeah, so it makes it amazing.
So Max, tell me, why do you think right now is the right time for people to invest in Zanzibar?
You know, I believe right now is the right time because it's early enough to be able to see that super appreciation, right? And as an investor myself, the two things that I always look for when I'm making an investment is appreciation on the asset and the cash flow. And that's also part of the research that we do when we decide to build a community, the location, what type of project we decide to build, is what type of appreciation can come from this project and what type of cash flow can you get. So we check both boxes on that, but why it's the right time is because there's a massive upside on being early enough to be able to capture that actual appreciation. You could look at many places in the world and you can see where if you jumped in at the right time,
of course,
when it was still early, like let's take Dubai, for example. Dubai at a certain period was a place where if you got in at the right time, all you had to do is hold it. And you look at Dubai now, people have massively leveraged themselves to be able to get properties that they've had so long and to be able to continue to enjoy the fruits of the labor of just being there at the right time. So I believe right now is the perfect time to invest in Zanzibar before it becomes way too popular, which it will because it has beautiful beaches, beautiful islands. Most people watching this have just discovered or heard about Zanzibar in the last 24 months. Some people are just discovering it right now as they're scrolling on this video or just listen to it somewhere else.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah. And in addition to that, you spoke something about appreciation value. In Zanzibar, we have an appreciation value of like 15 to 20% yearly based. But speaking of Chukwani Show, which is the last piece of lands and the beachfronts available in the city, I don't know, what's your suggestions when it comes to its appreciation?
Well, first thing I would say, what makes this investment unique is that it's for people in primarily America, where I invested a lot of my time and money in the last 10 years, is that these projects on this side of the world and the rest of the world mainly are built off plan, meaning that you get immediate appreciation when the project's finished. And that appreciation could be anywhere from 10 to 15% immediately based upon the project is just completed. Because the later in the stage you are in buying an off-plan project, the more it's going to cost you. So when we launch this project, people that bought on the day one for launch will see the most appreciation. Now, if you wait till we're 50% complete with construction and you purchase, the price that you purchase at is not the same as the person who purchased earlier, right? And so I think in Africa, Middle East, and the majority of the world, a lot of projects are done based upon off-plan. So you get that immediate appreciation when the project's completed, and then that appreciation just grows rapidly year after year because they don't make any more beachfront land. And land on an island is finite. That's it. It runs out. So that when that land is traded, that's traded at a higher value because of there's no more left.
Yeah, sound good. It's like you spoke about the common rule of economy, demand and supply.
Correct. That's it. That's it.
So what do you think are the most challenges that we faced developing these projects?
Yeah, I mean, listen, as an island boy myself, I'm an American and a Jamaican. I understand that we're on an island, and this island is relatively small compared to Jamaica, right? I think it's maybe 1/3 of the size.
Of course.
So there's not a lot of items that are made here on the island. And so logistics in itself has to be a very strategic part of your planning. We import cement, we import steel for reinforcements, we import everything you could think about pretty much to do with construction because the local economy does not create those things here. So whether we import those from mainland, from Turkey, from India, from China, wherever the resources come from, you have to be very planned. And when you do projects like that, sometimes it's out of your control as to how those things reach. Sometimes there's maritime delays that you can't control because things come mainly on the sea. And then sometimes the congestions at the ports. So for example, anything that comes to Zanzibar goes to Mombasa, Kenya.
Of course.
Right? I can get a container from China to Mombasa, Kenya in 19 to 20 days. It might take another 19 to 20 days sitting in Mombasa, Kenya before we can get that to leave Kenya, then travel that one to 2 days to Zanzibar. And then if the Zanzibar port's congested, then you can add more time. So I think that's something that the current government's clearly working on in the East Africa. But those are challenges that you can face, and some things that just you don't have. And then you also have rainy season. Rainy season is where you need to make sure that your foundations and all those things are already complete before rainy season comes, because that could delay your project as well. But overall, in the island, you just face those problems, you plan correctly, and you can do your best to manage and mitigate some of those risks. Now, what common questions or concerns do you get from prospective investors and buyers when they're considering and buying in Zanzibar?
I think the most common asked questions, and it's not a challenge, but people are very curious to understand about the format of which they can own a property in Zanzibar. So here in Zanzibar, technically you cannot own a land. And as a foreigner, the format is a lease. It's like 33 years to 99 years lease. So most of the people that are coming at the freehold countries, such as USA, are a bit curious when it comes to owning the land at this kind of format.
Yeah. You know, most of the world is a leasehold. Most of the world is a leasehold where the government owns the land, and you get ownership of that land through a 99-year lease.
Okay.
It's very foreign. As an investor, it's very foreign to Americans. Like, what do you mean I'm buying it, but it's a lease? You're buying it in the way that the taxes that you're paying are through a lease. In America, I built my home loan free, and every year I still have to pay somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000 a year in taxes on that property. If I don't pay it, then they can take that property away. Even though I bought that land, I built it by myself. You know, so you have to understand it's just a kind of a difference in just terminology. When you have a lease, when you pass away, you can give that to your family. When that lease comes to terms that is about to expire, it's going to be renewed. Now, the only provision that the lease can be terminated is if you use the land for other than what the lease specifies it for. I'll give you an example. If we take Chiquani Shore and we buy that and we get a land lease from the government for 99 years, what happens is if I turn that into a shopping center versus a residential complex, then I violated the lease terms and they could terminate it. So as long as you follow the rules of the lease, 99 years. The reality is in 99 years, I'll be dead, and even my kids will be dead at that point, right?
No, your kids can live longer.
I don't know. So 100 years from now, I don't think any of us speaking right now would be available to tell any stories. So the reality is, listen, 99-year leases are very common in the rest of the world. So I'm sure you get those questions all the time.
Yeah. And what I usually tell people, I'm not expecting government to take the people's property after 99-year lease, because the government itself, it's promoting the investment, and like this is direct, it's a direct investment from foreign countries, which is a very boost when it comes to the country economy.
Yeah.
So beyond buildings, talk about the lifestyle that you're creating in Chiquani Shore, and why does it matter to you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, for us, we know what international investors want. I mean, you can look at the community here behind you. We have 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom penthouses, all with an ocean view, the Indian Ocean, which is one of the most beautiful oceans in the world.
Of course.
White sand beaches, beautiful villas at the front that all have their own individual pool. And then you have a boat slip that we're working on installing as well. So the lifestyle of a safe, secure community that people can enjoy with their families is important, right? We have a health center there. You can work out. We also have paddle courts where you can play paddle with your friends in the community or your family. And it's secure. So we have all of those amenities inside of the project because we know what people want. They want to come to Zanzibar. They want to enjoy themselves, and they want to spend good time with their families. It's safe. It's secure. And then these amenities also translate to other people in the rest of the world that are going to be possibly staying in these units that are owned by these investors that also want to enjoy those things. What gives it a bigger attraction, right? So you're coming and you're going to spend a few days or a week or so in Zanzibar. You're going to have your own gym that you can use, the private gym to the community. You're going to be able to play paddle. You're going to be able to walk inside of the community that has all this beautiful green landscape. You can use a community pool if you live in the apartment complex, or you can go to the beach, the big, beautiful Indian Ocean. So the idea of creating a community is, like, I know I've built communities before. I myself know what I want when I'm purchasing some luxury real estate. So it's important that we also be able to replicate that in the development projects that we build.
So basically, it's not only about the investment, it's about the community also.
Yeah, the community aspect is always important. We're humans.
Yes,
Humans
of course.
always like the community aspect of things.
All right.
And I think I know that the island is a Muslim island.
Of course.
So there's a lot of conservative, like the private pools also have coverings that they can make sure that, if you want to swim on your own and nobody is you and you want to do it with your family, you can do that as well. But there's also a community pool where people are going to be modest and do those type of things. So it's a very thought out community, and health is health is trending. People want to take care of themselves. So we designed a beautiful gym. And we have our own coffee shop on the premises where you can grab a coffee and enjoy the walk on the actual property. So it's very important. How do you explain the lifestyle, though? When you have potential customers talking to you, how do you explain the lifestyle to potential buyers and kind of what excites them the most?
I think when it comes to the lifestyle, initially, historically, Chukwani and Mbweni, I would say, but basically Chukwani is one among the very planned areas. Even before we came to develop this kind of project. So when it comes to the lifestyle, speaking of tranquility, safety, you mentioned all those things before. The lifestyle there is much more of the premium lifestyle available in Zanzibar.
Yeah.
You know, in Africa, we have one challenge is most of the cities available in our countries are not highly planned. But the good things, there are a few areas that has been well planned.
Yeah.
And among those areas, Chukwani, the leading. That's on top.
Nice, beautiful new roads.
Of course.
All those type of things.
The president is working on
it's very important that the government has a vision and they work closely with the investors to make sure that their vision is sought out.
I would say Chukwani is like the face of Zanzibar when it comes to premium lifestyle.
So I have a question for you. So what is probably so far has been the most rewarding or exciting part on working on this development so far, as from your perspective as a sales manager?
I think on me, knowing that I'm creating value into the people's life, this is has been one of the amazing things. I usually tell my customer, for example, there was one of my customer who was having a land nearby, and then he was having two things, like two options, whether to develop his own land or to come into our projects. So speaking of our company as Padco and the visions and everything, I was very happy to ensure that that customer, not only that he didn't want to develop his own project, but he opted to come with us because of the value that he see that we are going to bring. It's all well known that our company is having a very well strategy, starting from designing, building, and managing. So it ensures it's a hassle-free to people. And speaking of investment, speaking of lifestyle, speaking of luxury, these are the things that we are trying to embed into people's life. So adding the value to the people's life, ensuring they diversify their investment is what makes me happy to see majority of the people's life are improving through this kind of project. So it's a game changer to me.
And I would echo that myself. As I travel amongst the world and I run into different people at airports or conferences or conventions, some of them will come up to me and say, listen, I've always wanted and had the idea of investing and having a second home or in Zanzibar, but I never saw something that I really wanted to purchase that made sense to me. And now that we're building Chukwani, they've purchased in Chukwani because it made perfect sense for the lifestyle that they wanted to live, whether it's, spending 2 months or 3 months out of the year in Zanzibar and the rest of the time, the assets making them money. And they get to come home to a place that they want to call their second home. So yeah, I echo that myself.
So on your side, I know you've been here for a while right now.
Yeah.
So what's your memorable moments when it comes to while we are doing this project? What's the most exciting moment on your side?
For me, it's just to being able to see my vision through. When I created Padco, I had this vision of creating communities that add value, not only to the investors, but to the local community. And that's a big part of our mission. For me, yes, luxury real estate's cool, but I'm truly excited about another project that we have coming up where we're going to build affordable homes. It's not that it excites me on the balance sheet because it's not much of a profit venture. But being able to build homes for the local community at the same time we're building something like Chukwani Shores is fulfilling for me. I'm actually very excited about those type of projects as well. But Chukwani Shore in general is to be able to add not only value to the buyers, value to the community, but there's people that already live in Chukwani that are going to see their prices raise up because we're building communities that are safe and secure, and that adds value to what they've already put in there. So for me, as the CEO of PADCO, there's a lot of memorable moments, but I can say I'm very excited to be able to continue this vision. Chiquani's here. We're building Chiquani. Deliveries, handover is going to be in the first quarter of 2027. But as we're building this, I'm already on, as is my position in the company, I'm already on to the other projects. And so this is every project that we're going to do, we're going to step up everything about it. And this is going to be an amazing community. It's one of its first of its kind in Zanzibar. And so we hope to keep replicating this and be able to set that bar high for both luxury division and for the affordable home part of our company. I think we've covered quite a bit on this community. We'll do more of these conversations about the community and talk about different topics.
Of course.
But if anybody is interested in learning more about Chiquani, whether it's interested in purchasing a unit or interested in just learning more about the project, please feel free to email the email below, which is Nurdeen's email. Email him, and also you can send him a message on WhatsApp. The number is below. Send him a message. We'll get back to you. And we'd love to share with you what we're doing in Chiquani and other future projects. And we're just welcome. So please reach out to us. And I appreciate you guys watching and listening to this podcast. And we'll keep doing these because I know that the inside of building and doing these things is rarely shown. And we want to make sure that we do that here at PADCO.
All right. So on me, I highly encourage people to visit the website, www.padco.com. They can find all the detail there.
Amazing. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right.